On everybody, welcome back to Instant Replay. This is your man, Big B, Brian Hanley, along with CC Chris Claiborne. Claiborne, what do we have on? What the hell is going on?
This is twofold today, Big B. I went hog hunting this weekend, and as the only person on, and not the hog hunting we used to do in college either. None of that nonsense. But as the only one who was successful, I thought I'd just keep the motive going here with the camo.
Okay. Did we get a hog though? Did we
Yeah.
catch one?
Absolutely. I was the only one out of the 5 guys that got one, and it wasn't from a tree stand or under a feeder. I had to stalk them, walk them and stalk them. So,
Again, back to what we did in college, huh?
Yeah, walk them and stalk. Exactly.
Yeah.
Separated it from the herd. Killed
That's right. Divide and conquer.
Absolutely.
Well, man, welcome everybody. Thank you guys for joining in again with Instant Replay. We appreciate everybody being here. As always, remember to like, follow, subscribe. We appreciate everybody's support. We are growing. This thing is starting to get really, really fun for the both of us. So we appreciate everybody being here. Thank you guys. Let's get into this a little bit.
Absolutely.
The first thing I think I think we should talk about, or at least just mention, Chris, the tragedy in Baltimore today. That the old nonsense that happened, I guess nonsense, the bridge collapsing. We want to send thoughts and prayers out to everybody in Baltimore. That was nuts. I don't think I've ever seen anything like that before.
It's crazy. And there were so many cars on it right before the ship hit it too. So I hate to say we're lucky it's so few, but it's crazy.
Yeah, I dug into it a little bit, and it seemed like almost the bridge was shut down because the people that were on it were pothole workers, were crew members. And that's the people that were driving off of there were crew members. And so there were 8 people. I don't know. It's insane. Like I said, I talked about it a little bit. That cargo ship, first of all, was gigantic. And to run right into that, and then the whole thing just fell to the ground. I'm like, holy mackerel, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, thoughts and prayers to everybody in Baltimore. We want to make sure that we recognize that. Something else that happened today that's definitely not as serious. Well, it could be serious.
It is for the victims. Yes.
It is for the victim. P. Diddy got his houses raided overnight. Now, this has been going on for a little bit. It's been going on for a while. But finally, they said, enough is enough. We're coming to get your ass. And they sent freaking the Homeland Security into his house. Not the police, the FBI, Homeland Security with Army Humvees were at this guy's house. They literally took every precaution and said, no, you're not getting away. We are going to get your ass.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. They waited till they had enough, like where he's trafficking, internationally to where he can get Homeland Security and federal agents involved. This has been stacking forever against the old diddler. So it went down in LA and Miami. The Miami house is a lot later. So, I don't know what they were thinking. They should have gone simultaneously, but he was already out there, right? He was already on the plane and in the Caribbean somewhere, right?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they saw him in the Miami airport at one of the small airports, and he hightailed it out of there. He ain't coming back. No, he's not coming back. They're going to have to find him. He's not coming back. I thought the whole thing was nuts. I'm just like, gee, many Christmas, man. Just Homeland Security. Ryan Ellinger, exactly right. They deal with human trafficking. I mean, is this worse than R. Kelly? Is it the same? Is it worse? I kind of think that it's worse.
Sorry, there's somebody. Ashford had a crazy comment in there, but yes, it's worse because what we're going to find is Diddy had so much more money, so many more resources. It's going to go so much deeper, right? And then of course we know how our community is going to make it. It's going to be worse because it's going to be dudes. I mean, everybody talks about Usher as a teenager and Bieber. It's going to be worse by the time they get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, yeah. This is just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Oh well. For years, Diddy apparently he was getting away with it. Nobody wanted to say anything. Everybody was afraid. And 2024 must be the year of nobody's afraid anymore. Everybody's telling everything. And Diddy, yeah, I mean, if they catch him, if they find him, they're going to put him underneath the jail. He's going under the jail.
I don't know. You know what Diddy has always had the ability to do is find somebody to take that charge for him. So
he has been slippery. I'll admit
he has every time. I mean, everyone knows he was the one that shot in the club, and then Shine goes away, and that's why J-Lo had to leave. The guy is going to find some other way. He wasn't aware of any of those kids hiding in any of those houses. Trust me.
None. They had no idea. Yeah. Yep. Like I said, he's going away. They're gonna get his butt. So it is what it is. Let's move on here. So NCAA, man, let's talk about it. So there were some upsets that happened with the NCAA tournament this weekend. Now, I was a little disappointed, Chris, because on Sunday in round 2, or basically all of round 2, not many upsets. The first day, yes, there were a ton of them.
Yeah.
Ton of upsets that were out there. Round 2, not as many. So do you have one? For me, I know what my biggest upset is, so I can say that at any time. But for you, do you have one that was bigger than any of the other ones this year?
Somehow Auburn getting beat was bigger than Kentucky getting beat for me. I think that was the bigger surprise. And so that's my upset of the year. Or of the tournament, excuse me. I will say, Brian, and you're probably going to not like this approach, but the lack of more upsets is leading to a stacked field now. And that's what I like. I want the best teams remaining because I want to see some good ball. So I kind of like when it wasn't a lot of upsets. I was biting my teeth with the Houston game. My God, because I've got them on every bracket winning the thing. So, but yeah, I don't need that many upsets. But Auburn getting beat, huge. I don't know why. It resonated more with me.
Well, I mean, here we got from the peanut gallery already, Ryan Elledge, who's in 19th place. So there's a Big B bracket challenge that might be somewhere out in the universe. I don't know.
Okay.
But Big B, whoever that guy happens to be, is in last place in his own bracket challenge. I don't know how. I don't know why.
Sure.
It's absolute garbage on what happened. It's rigged. It's rigged, just like the elections. It's rigged.
Okay.
And I'm not happy about it. I'm a little pissed off about it, to be quite honest. But I think you're right. As far as upsets go, I like first round upsets. I like to see that. Don't get me wrong. But when it comes down to crowning champions, I want to see the best beat the best. So I'm with you with that. However, the biggest upset it has to be Kentucky. Look, and here's the reason why. Auburn, a guy got kicked out in the first half that was their second best player on the team. That changed everything that they were trying to do. Now, do they still have enough talent to beat Yale? Yeah, they do. They do. And should have. But when you take your second best player, your number one defender, your second best player, and you eliminate that guy, not, hey, he got hurt before the game, we know we're going to play without him. No, 8 minutes into the game, and then he's out the rest of the game. That's a problem. Kentucky didn't have that problem. They just let a guy that couldn't even be a manager on their basketball team make 10 threes on him. That's what they did. I mean, there's not a kid on Oakland that could go to Kentucky and play. I don't even know if he could be in the two deep or anything. None of those kids. And yet they were able to beat them. That's
why people love the tournament. It's kind of why I don't. I don't like the underdogs having that much of a chance. You might want to check the comments. There will be some people are coming for you saying the biggest upset is your bracket. And so there's, I'm just letting you know.
Disrespect today. I see that's what we're doing today. It's disrespect Brian Day today.
Yeah. They were on fire with the Diddy comments. If you didn't see that, some of the funniest comments I've seen, almost everybody was in there.
But we can't put up every Diddy comment. No. I mean, they'll take us off of YouTube. So
yeah, they're fired up though. They're
Lord
fired up.
Have mercy. But either way, it was just, I don't know. The tournament, I love the upsets. I think the upsets are great. Kentucky getting beat, it made my day. You all know that. I thought it was outstanding. But yeah, when we start getting to the next round, then I like to say, okay, you know what? Let's let good on good. Let's see who wins. And everything can't be an upset. Like last year, the ratings were down so much in the Final Four because teams were in there that, okay, well, we know that UConn is going to win. Well, it turns out UConn whipped two teams, and that was the end of it. Yep. Let's get some competition. Let's see who actually can be the best. I do love the tournament, though, because of upsets can happen. But at the same time, when it gets down to the Final Four, I don't want to see Oakland in the Final Four.
Right.
Right. I don't want to see that.
Well, you got Jacqueline with a whole bunch of consonants in her last name. Says, of the upsets remaining, who's going to make the Final Four? And I'm gonna leave that to you. But I kind of have the same thing. I always feel like the kids spend all of their emotional capital on these upsets, and then they turn around and lay an egg in the next round. Most of the time, you just run out of they're so young, and they just run out of that emotional energy. But who do you think of the upsets is going to make it?
Now, here's the thing.
Final Four.
Here's the thing. While my bracket is horrendous, admittedly, it's horrendous. All my Final Four teams are still alive. They are still alive and cooking. Okay. So for me, I still believe UConn is going to make it. I think Arizona is going to make it. I think Houston is going to make it. And then my sleeper pick, and they almost killed me, was Creighton. Okay. I like Creighton. Like, oh my God, I couldn't go to sleep. I was like, if you guys let Oregon, who wasn't even going to be in the tournament unless they won the Pac-12, if you let them be, I'm going to break my television. I didn't have to do that. So I felt good. So I still got a fighting chance. Everybody's making fun of me now. You're going to hate me later when all my teams are in the Final Four and the team that I picked to win it wins it. Everybody's going to be upset. Again, it's not how you start. It's how you finish. Okay? I was taught that by a smart man named Robert Hanley, notably my brother. It's not how you start. It's how you finish. Now, he wasn't talking about basketball, He was talking about something else. Yeah.
I would actually say that's more about how you start than how you finish, because the finish is always the same, if you know what I'm saying. All right.
They're going to kick us off of YouTube. Well, maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. There's worse on here.
Oh, man. Yeah, I like the tournament, man. It's going to be good this weekend. Really good teams, Chris. That's the thing, is that the upsets are kind of out of the way. Like, if anybody wins now, a team that might be favored may win, but it's not really going to be an upset that win. The only one that's really going to be an upset would be if NC State beats somebody.
Right.
But they were kind of hurt all year. So their record, now granted, your record, you are what your record says that it is, but they didn't really have a full squad until the middle of February because guys were off and on hurt. And now you're actually seeing their squad, and they weren't bad, and they haven't been bad. So we'll see what happens. We will absolutely see what happens. Let's go to some of these comments, Chris.
Well,
dig
in
here a little bit.
Are the Elledges in the same house? Because they are on fire. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the Elledges
Wi-Fi's burning up.
I used to like Rebecca. I did. I liked Rebecca at one point in time. Now, her husband, Ryan, has rubbed off on her too much.
Gotcha.
Because I've never liked Ryan. I've never liked him. Right. But I did like Rebecca and just rubbed off too much. And then here's Ryan. Again, you got a long way to go. See what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Why does today have to be disrespect Big B Day? What happened here? What are we doing?
It's like you put out a budget guide and then took none of your advice. That's what I felt like. I was like, man, you've got some great tips in here, but you must not have taken any of it.
Yeah, apparently so. I thought I was rigging it, saying, hey, man, look, I want to send out a shirt. I want people to be happy.
Right.
But no, unbelievable. So, unbelievable. Look here, buddy Claiborne. Look here, buddy Claiborne. We got to stop. You got to stop, okay?
Yeah, hey, he wasn't the only one that picked up on it. If you guys didn't hear me, I had a pause, underneath my breath when you're like, he's rubbed off on it. I was like, hey, come on now. And I'm the one getting us in trouble on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
just keep it clean.
Yeah.
Big
so I got Houston, winning this whole thing. But, I took your advice and you told me that they've got some athletic bigs that play great defense.
Yep.
And man, great defense ended up in a lot of foul trouble.
Gee, man,
and so if they can't get that under, they didn't play at full strength for the last 8 minutes between people not trying to get their fifth and then getting their fifth foul. That was insane. It looked like my 8th grade basketball team out there getting fouled out, So, I'm a little worried that Kelvin Sampson can't have, he hasn't got him playing good defense. He's got him playing aggressive defense. Two different things.
Yeah, I get it. I understand. I like Houston. I still like Houston. The thing is, they didn't get a friendly whistle. That's the thing. They come from the Big 12. They let you beat each other up and just destroy each other. You get into the tournament, you get officials from someplace else. They literally called everything. And boy, they paid the price for that.
But you got to adjust. You got to adjust. They were in foul trouble early in the game. Okay, that's the way they're calling it. My best availability is my availability. Let's do that. But no. We're gonna keep stepping under every layup, trying to draw a charge. Come on.
Yes.
This is 2024. Nobody wants to see a charge call.
Nobody wants to see a charge call. No, we're out on charges. We are out on charges. We've been out on charges, by the way. We don't want to see that anymore. So let's move on, man. Let's move on.
Sure.
Rap battle that we got going on. Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake. Now, look, I'll be the first to admit this is not necessarily my biggest forte, but I dabble in it. I dabble. And my question for you, Chris, because this is your area of expertise.
Yeah.
Do we need a rap battle? Do we need this to satisfy? We had them in the 80s. I mean, hip hop was basically started on it. But do we need it in the 80s? Like they had them in the 80s, in the 90s. The 90s got crazy. Yes. Do we need a good rap battle to keep us all engaged?
And I'm glad you asked, because that's the real reason for the camo today. Everybody that grew up in the No Limit era, everybody knows, like, rap is back. Like, they're going to war, and yes, we need it. It's what makes rap great. It's about who's number one. It's about being brash, braggadocious, and confrontational. That's what rap's about. So all of this sing-song stuff and these guys that get along and, or they're too sensitive and they go to south side of Chicago, Memphis, Miami, and they shoot it up. No, put it on wax. That's what made this great. Going back to, Kool Moe Dee and LL, NWA and Ice Cube, Tupac and Biggie. Of course, they took that one too far. Nas and Jay-Z. Like, that's what makes this great. And I was so tired. And Kendrick Lamar has been trying to tell everybody in very subtle ways, like, he's the best. He's the best. I still think that there's a hope for a late champ to come in. Everybody on the chat can eat me alive. But Kendrick's been trying to say he's the best. So then J. Cole and Drake come out and start talking about the big three. And, man, when it comes to anything, we're not talking about the big three. We're talking about the GOAT. You need to be in the GOAT debate. And to be in the GOAT debate, you got to be the best currently. And Kendrick finally said, F the big three. It's just big me. That's the punchline from the song. There are sides to this. Future, who I thought should have a Super Bowl, and you hated on it. Yep. Future and Metro Boomin are on that side, and then Drake and J. Cole are on the other. So it's being an epic divide, and I think the only thing that's going to come out of it is great work. Because so far, that's album of the year, and I've had it on repeat on my commute. So, yes, we need these battles, and I'm willing to take any question about it right now. So,
Lord have, as long as we can keep it civil. Yeah. Do we need to keep it civil? Because we know what happened in the 90s. Now, the thing about it is these guys weren't brought up. They're not from that cloth. So that's a little bit different. Tupac was from that cloth. He had absolutely no chill, no slowdown, no nothing. But it was a different time. It was a totally different time. But I also think it's also where some of the guys are from. And these guys don't happen to be from or mixed in with the riffraff that it can get violent, that it can get ugly. Am I right or wrong about that?
You're absolutely right. These guys are $100 million and up. These guys have elevated themselves from all that. I don't think it's going to get violent. I think it's going to stay on albums, and that's where we need it. But we do need some iron sharpening iron. I'm so tired of people getting a pass. I went through today just because I don't really work when I'm at work, and I was like, listen to how many times Kendrick and Drake have been on the same song. Drake and J. Cole have been on the same song. And every now and then there's a little slight, the song where it says, I love bad, I got an effing problem. That's 2 Chainz, Drake. Everybody loves that song. Well, Kendrick in the final verse, which the best guy always goes last, he kind of says, this is the finale. And he kind of goes just a little bit of a hint at he's better than Drake. And so I'm like, here we go. That started 7 or 8 years ago. These guys have been so soft, so tiptoeing around the money.
Right.
You know, they've all got their freaking handful of Grammys. Let's go. Let's battle. Best rapper right now, that's a vote. It's Kendrick. And you can't vote any other way. Only Ashford would vote for Drake because he is secretly in love with the man. But no, right now, Kendrick, he killed him, and there's been no response.
Yeah.
So
that's the whole thing. Now, here's a question.
Yes.
You know, is there going to be a response from Drake? Is he going to come out quick with it? Is he going to come out for, going to take a minute to come out? Or is he just going to pump the brakes and say, you know what? I don't even want to engage in this. I'm just going to move on and be above the fray. If he does the latter, I should say, does that mean he lost? Because I kind of think it does.
Well, hold on. If Drake doesn't act on it, and I think that all Kendrick Lamar did by having just a verse was want them to act because he must have had a bunch of material ready to go. They didn't act on it. So if Drake doesn't act and J. Cole doesn't act, then they both take an L. Somebody's got to step up and say something.
Somebody's got to. That's my thing.
They've got to say something.
Battle, then let's battle. Somebody step up, do something, say something. Let's make this happen. Because I kind of feel like, like I said, we had the whole East Coast, West Coast thing, and things went back and forth. And then Eminem kind of shut it all down for a while because he whipped everybody.
Yep.
And then we really haven't had that real good rap battle. I think we need to get back there. We got a good question here, though.
Yeah.
Peanut Gallery, or let me say, the Goon Squad.
Goon Squad.
Best rap album ever. Chris Claiborne, what do you got?
Man, you know what? In the Tupac versus Biggie debate, a lot of us, guys that were in our prime in that time would have gone Tupac. I think he was a hotter at the time. But as it goes on, Biggie was the better of the artists. And so Ready to Die or Life After Death goes down as my favorite album of all time. The best album of all time. And then shortly after that, you could go All Eyes on Me or one of about 3 from Outkast. But I think Biggie takes the top there. Ready to Die or Life After Death, best album of all time, my opinion.
Okay. I don't know. I guess Outkast. Do we really consider Outkast as rappers?
Yes.
Do we?
Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely.
AT-Aliens, Aquemini, those albums are timeless. Put those on and just, float on the raft in the pool this summer and you will just be transported back, to the good old days. Absolutely.
The good old days. Gotcha.
Yes.
I got you. Well, we'll see what happens. I don't. Again, that's not my forte, but I do love me a good rap battle. Something safe, edgy. Don't get me wrong. Got to be edgy because if it's not edgy, it's not any fun. Something safe, something edgy, but get after each other. Stop being soft about it.
And I forgot one of the greatest battles that I didn't talk about when you talked about edgy was 50 Cent in that top album of all time, Get Rich or Die Trying, his debut album. But he came out and it was 50 Cent versus the entire industry. People only remember In the Club as his first song. He had a song called How to Rob. And he went to every artist and said how he would rob them. And he came in so hot and so heavy, people didn't know what to do with him. And that's what had him walking around New York in a bulletproof vest. It was a little much, but we loved it because he brought the edge back, the grind back. Like, we're not all friends and buddies, and I love it. And then shout out to whoever said they couldn't see anything but the chain because of the camo. I love it. I brought this out just for the rap beef. Had to get the chain back out, guys. My instant replay champion chain is not in yet still. It's at the jeweler.
Unbelievable.
It's at the jeweler.
I appreciate it. Again, everybody, thanks everybody for joining in with us. We appreciate it. Remember, like, follow, subscribe, but more importantly, hit the notification bell so you know that we're on every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Central Time. Always do that. Next thing is make sure you also like or go make comments outside on the video, outside the live. We definitely appreciate all comments and supporting the show that way.
Your boy Darren's out of control. I'm sorry.
Nobody's listening.
I've been trying to read the comments. So
No, nobody's listening to him. Nobody.
No.
We're done with him. We're done. Well, the Goon Squad is getting after it a little bit tonight. I kind of like it. I kind of
Yeah,
like it.
a lot of
So,
energy,
a
you
lot of
know.
energy. So the next thing is, look, we got in this segment here, we got NFL rule changes that came out. These
Okay, I'm gonna
NFL
tuck my
owners are
chain in.
trying to ruin. They're trying to ruin the game. They're literally trying to ruin the game. I don't understand these rule changes on what is going on. First, they make a rule on the drop leg or the drop hip tackle or whatever. They're taking that out of the game, and I'm like, can somebody please explain to me how guys are supposed? If you run by somebody and you catch up to them, how are you supposed to tackle them? I just don't understand that. The next thing is they changed the kickoff rule and they turned it into the XFL where they're starting on the opposing 40-yard line and you can't run down until they catch the ball. I'm
Right.
like, what? CC, what is going on? What are they
Okay,
doing?
so let's tackle kickoff rule first because it's the easy one for me. Last night, you and I had dinner, and I was like, this makes guys like Cordell Patterson most valuable in the league, right? You know, and I think the Steelers picked him up today. Am I right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay. So you should be ecstatic about these rules. It gives you a chance. But the kickoff rules, like what they're trying to do is reduce the amount of touchbacks. It was something like 80% touchbacks. That's extra time to go get a beer and not pay attention to the game. The NFL is all about eyeballs. They want you to watch it. So let's generate a return. Well, we stopped guys from running down and wedge busting. No diddy. And so what we have now is we want them to start 10 yards apart. It's essentially like a long running play. I think it's going to be super exciting. I think the only people that have a problem with it are the guys stuck with nostalgia because it's going to generate a better product, more chances at kick returns, bring back the importance of the kick returner. That's an easy one.
Well,
You
the
know,
kick returner would have been back. All they had to do is move it back to where it originally was, the 35-yard line, and let them kick off from there and say there's no more touchbacks or there's no more fair catches. And if you kick it for a touchback, you get the ball at the 30-yard line, which they did do as part of this rule. There's no more fair catches. And if it is a touchback, they get the ball at the 30-yard line as opposed to the 25, which makes it more of, hey, don't want to get a touchback. We just want to kick it high enough and deep enough, no diddy, to be able to play and have somebody actually make plays on the football. Making it a circus, though, and having people start from the 40 is ridiculous.
Why do people need an 80-yard running start? I mean, yes, in the 1950s when guys were running 12-second 100-yard dashes, it's okay. The speed of the game has changed. You know, why would I have to hold a block for that long? It's not worth it. It's not worth having stars back there. You might see in some situations now when you're desperate, you're putting a much better player back there because he's essentially a deep handoff. He's got a 10-yard head start. I
Okay.
think it's going to be exciting. Now, let's get to this other one that's an easy one for me.
Well,
They now can replay whether the passer was down by contact or out of bounds. And I think that is a win. I saw that as the biggest win in a long time. There's a lot of times we got guys dancing on the sidelines, throwing it last minute, and you're like, I think he stepped out. Well, that's non-reviewable, or he should be down by contact. I love that the passer being down by contact or being out of bounds can be reviewed. That's only fair. It takes out all this getting extra cute stuff. I'm hoping Josh Allen gets flavor blasted on the sidelines. It'll make my life a lot better. I can be here, this fall, screaming hallelujah. So I like that rule change. Your thoughts on that one?
I mean, first of all, it was necessary. I think that's an easy
Right.
one. That's a very easy one to be able to review. I don't know why it wasn't part of the rule book at the beginning. So that's my only thoughts as far as that rule. I think it's simple. The one that
Okay.
doesn't make any sense is the hip drop tackle rule. That one is absolutely insane. It's like, okay, if a guy gets past you and you're running next to him and you grab him around the waist, how are you supposed to tackle him now? Because before you grab a guy around the waist and you fall down and you tackle them. That's literally how they teach you to tackle. Instead, now you're saying, well, if you get him around the waist, you got to hope that you slow him down enough to where you can get in front of him or to this side and then bring him down. That's
No,
impossible.
you can tackle him like we were all taught to tackle. We got a guy who led his team in the NFL on this chat. If you're running behind a guy, it's super painful. But if you tackle him by grabbing him around his waist and dragging him down, they're not ruling that out. It's painful because you're going to land on his feet, you're going to land on his heel. What they're ruling out is what you do to cattle, which is swinging your hip to the side and just unloading all of your weight, onto their legs. That wasn't what we were ever taught.
No.
First of all, getting your head across and wrapping up fundamentally is a lost art. So let's see how the Baltimore offense works against people who don't want to tackle anymore. But if you get run by, grab what you can grab and fall down. Don't grab what you can grab around him, and then pick your feet up like you're on a side cart of a motorcycle. Side cart, great pool game. But, that's not how you tackle. And so that's all they're trying to do.
But here's the thing. You said that the game evolved. Tackling evolves as well. Just because you weren't taught that back in the 80s, how to tackle, we're not tackling the same way now. Guys are different. Guys are faster, bigger, stronger, faster. You got to be able to tackle in different ways. Football is dangerous. You're going to get hurt. It's not a matter of if you get hurt. It's a matter of when you get hurt. And I get it. People are saying, well, the tackle is 20 times more, more dangerous. Well, you know what? There's a lot of things that are more dangerous. They added an extra game to the season. The NFL didn't care how dangerous that was. So I don't want to hear that the NFL cares about safety. Hell, they're talking about going to 18 games. But then, but we care about their safety. No, you don't.
Yeah, but
you don't care about
math.
That. All they want to do is scoring has gone down for the last 4 years. So instead of that, of just admitting that the defense has caught up, they don't want to do that. They want to change and say, okay, now you can't tackle this way.
So
scoring goes back up.
It's going to bring back real linebackers. Again, the game's just going to evolve. It's going to bring back real linebackers that want to tackle people head up, fill some gaps, not duck around a guy and put your arms around his waist like it's an old hoedown.
But that's not
the wrong words.
If the guy gets past you, or he gets to your side and you grab him, you're not able to get your head in front of him. That's just not possible.
If a guy gets by you and you can get to him, why aren't you just diving and wrapping his legs up?
How often is that? I mean, okay, that doesn't always work. If we're talking about sound tackling, is it better to just dive at a guy or is it better to wrap him up?
It's definitely better to wrap him up. But we don't dive at legs anymore because they don't even want to go down to the ground. You realize a hip drop tackle is really pro defense. Like, it's the easiest thing I can do. If I dive and I get kicked in the face or in the sternum, like you do when a guy's when he's turning the bicycle over, that's what you're diving at legs. They're trying to keep their legs moving. But if I can just wrap you around the waist and hip drop it, I mean, I'm sorry. And also 23 times more dangerous. So one more game is 7 or 8% more higher chance of injury, right? By my math. 23 times more dangerous. Let's get that out of the game. No. I mean, I also think that going into a pile knee high, what's my guy from Minka, on Chubb, I think that's crazy too. Get rid of that. These guys are superstars. They're the reason we watch the game.
Just put flags on people. Now we can't tackle. We can't tackle below the waist. We can't wrap you up around the waist. We can't hit you in the head. We can't hit you in the chest. We can't do anything.
Hold on.
What is a defender supposed to do?
You can't chop block a DN.
Pity pat football.
You can't chop block a DN because he's engaged up high. You can't go low.
Well, you've never been able to do that.
Right, but why when a running back's engaged up high? Chubb's in the middle of the pile. Does Minka Fitzpatrick go in there at shin level? That's kind of Bush League.
But if he goes in at chest level and gets knocked on his back, then what?
Then you blame the linebackers who let him go that far downhill.
You stop a running back. You stop a man from moving against his will. That's the whole point of all of this. And I mean, I just don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, look, I used to be a guy that said, they're making it two-hand touch. People are going overboard. They're not going overboard at this point when people say stuff like that. This is ridiculous. Now you're telling a guy, if he gets past you, you literally can't tackle him anymore because he's going to keep running. And if you dive at his legs and you miss, too bad, so sad, because you can't grab him by the horse collar. You can't grab him around the waist and fall down. You literally have to hope and pray that if you dive, you nick his foot and hit him and he falls down. If not, Hey, too bad, so sad. You didn't make the play.
Or you could have grabbed some. You could have grabbed some
Offensive
cloth.
scoring is going through the roof.
Hey, you could have grabbed some cloth, but why don't you grab cloth anymore?
Well,
You know, you don't.
put a flag on them if we were just grabbing cloth.
Hey, grabbing cloth was your last resort in the secondary. Trust me, I tried and failed at playing defense a lot. You got to grab some cloth. You know, we don't have to do that anymore. You don't see any DBs out there with their fingers taped up because they're not doing anything. They get to just, again, go around like a safety harness and fall down. I'm sorry. I'm glad the hip drop got banned. Let's rock. So
I don't know. I don't like it. At some point, we got to, I mean, it's all about offense, and I get it. I 100% get it. They want the offense to be high. They want more points, but defenders get paid to defend. At some point, you've got to give them a chance. They're literally taking the chance and taking their ability to play defensive away. Look what happened in the NBA. Look what happened in the NBA. They made all these rules. The NBA is unwatchable. It's unwatchable because there's no defense. Does the NFL want to look like that?
You and I both played on the offensive side of the ball. Let's ask some of our friends that played on the defensive side of the ball if they like what they're seeing now. You know, yes, if you're a great pass rusher, that's still the same. But oh my gosh, like there are no linebackers. Used to be this clearly defined middle linebacker, outside linebacker. The weak linebacker was a fast flow lateral guy. Now they're all hybrid pass rushers, coverage guys, and nobody wants to plug a hole. No diddy. No diddy. So, and yes, Kelly Bird, this is live. We see your comments. He's on a roll there. I think.
Holy mackerel.
He may be on his second or third Busch Light or whatever he's drinking. But Kelly, we got you, buddy. We see you. You know, we got a bunch of people in the chat. But get back to my point. Dang it. This guy's going to.
We got a poll here. Is the NFL rule committee overreacting? 75% say yes. I think they're absolutely overreacting. I think they're overreacting. I mean, I think it's insane. I think it's absolutely insane what's going on. Again, we see what the NFL or the NBA looks like. You want to go to that? You want to see absolutely no defense being played? The other night, there was a game in regulation in the NBA, 150 to 145. Yeah. 150 to 145. Defense wasn't even in the arena, much less being played on the court. If the NFL's not careful, it's going to get to that. It's going to get to that, people.
And it can regular season, because regular season is all about eyeballs. The NBA and the playoffs the NBA creates is one of the most spectacular events in sports. The NFL playoffs is going to stay the same. It all comes down to who can play defense. We know the weather gets worse, who can run the ball and who can play defense. So we're not in danger of going to the greatest show on turf or the air it out. I mean, we've seen it before, and okay. It goes in
but that's how the NFL is. They put these rules in place. The offense soars, and then the defense catches up. And then they do more rules, and the offense soars,
right?
And then the defense catches up. And that's what we're seeing. This past 4 years, the defense has caught up. This was the worst year for NFL quarterbacks that we've seen in a long time. Defenses, they've caught up.
There is no faster reacting league than the NFL. They'll fix it. I mean, you pick the one. The hip drop is an arguable one. The other are all wins. The kickoff, win a challenge, get a challenge. Why do I get 2 challenges if I win? You know, I got to win them both. Now it's win a challenge, get a challenge. Kickoff is going to be awesome, I think. And then the replay rules. So I was in on what I read. I'll get more read up this weekend. But Big B, let's take our old man shaking the fist at the clouds out of here and say it's going to be good for the game.
Nope.
Okay.
I don't like it.
Fair enough.
I don't like it. But either way, I think we just gotta let guys play. Look, nobody wants to see anybody get hurt. Nobody wants to see that. At the same time, we all know that it's gonna happen. We say we want safety, but why do we watch football? We love seeing the big hit. We love it. I scream every time I see a big hit. And my whole thing, that's how you play football. I say the same thing every time when I'm screaming at the screen. And now we're getting away from that. And now it's even worse. Yeah. Don't tackle the guy. You can't tackle him from behind because lo and behold, he might get hurt. Doesn't matter about the defender. He might get hurt. It's just what you said. Guys can go at his knees all the time. on a play away, I'm an offensive lineman. I can dive at the back of his knees. They haven't taken that out of the rules. Why not? There we go.
And nobody said don't tackle him from behind. No, did he? But what they said was, don't tackle him like a steer. That was never in what we taught, and it'll be just fine. We'll be all right. Trust me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And then you're right. Rutledge had it right in the comments a while back when he said defense caught up because we had some piss poor quarterback play in the last couple of years.
Well, why did
everybody's looking for the next guy?
The defense just caught up. That's why the play was so bad. It wasn't that the quarterbacks just stink. The defense caught up. It happens all the time. But I love this comment here by man's man, John Claiborne. Sure. NBA is becoming unwatchable because of the lack of defense. Right. I would hate for that to happen to the NFL. I would hate it.
Shout out to John Claiborne. He taught me how to shoot a rifle, which is why I got a hog and no one else did. So, again, his aging skill set may be at fault here, but he's awesome. But the NBA is unwatchable for the old heads in the regular season. And we all know that it's just about getting some eyes on and some highlights on SportsCenter. No one cares. But if he's not glued to the TV during the playoffs like I will be, like he has been my whole life, then he can talk. We're going to be glued on the playoffs because they play defense then. Those guys are the best players in the world, and all of a sudden all the fundamentals come flowing back. So they're just separating the regular season product, the wheat from the chaff. You're right. For a basketball savant like my pops, the regular season is unwatchable. Playoffs, it gets real. So
here's the thing. Almost all sports have made rules to benefit the offense. Is that really what the fans want? My man, Matt Hasselbrink, actually they do. I don't. I like seeing defense because I like seeing competitive games. I don't want to see all the rules favor the offense so nobody can stop anybody. But unfortunately, it looks like that's the way that it's going in the NFL. Hopefully, it doesn't get out of control and the defense can still participate. Hopefully that is the case. So, last segment of the evening. And just for reminders, there will be a poll at the end of the night on who won the debate today. There will be a poll. Last week, the champion, as usual, Big B, and the reigning champion, because he's the rightful champion. It was rigged for 2 weeks previous for that. But you know what? I forgive everybody. We got it back together last week, and I think we'll do it again this week. Oh, Lord Jesus. I mean, what are we doing? Props here? Let's get it going. So, last topic, our man Shohei Ohtani gambles away his fortune. Does he do it? Did he do it? My answer is he damn sure was betting on other sports. They didn't prove that he bet on baseball. Okay, but was he betting? Absolutely. He was betting. I don't want to hear that he wasn't, man. Don't tell me that your interpreter, I don't care how good a buddy he is. I don't care. He didn't have access to $4.5 million of your money. He did it. He absolutely did it. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Hey,
I mean, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead, man.
If I tell you, go put $100K on Houston winning the tournament, I didn't bet. Yeah, I told you what to do. You went and bet on Houston. And I think that's the semantics he's looking for here. Is he technically didn't do it. He 100% told his interpreter in Japanese to put this money on somebody. But he's got a fall guy. Him and Diddy both have fall guy.
Absolutely. Here's the thing. Here's what's hilarious. I love Rebecca Elledge. Ohtani ran his friend over and parked on top of him. Ohtani knew what was going on. No Diddy. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Look, it would be one thing if everything that we know right now never had happened. But you're not going to tell me that, hey, the feds are investigating this bookie. They find 2 wire transfers that come directly from your account. And the first statement that you come out with was, oh, yeah, I paid off my buddy's gambling debt. Right. That was the first statement that they released out to the press. All of a sudden, 45 minutes later, because I'm sure Major League Baseball called and said, what the hell are you talking about? Right, called, they get together with some lawyers, and then all of a sudden, oh, no, my buddy stole it. And then the buddy comes out, oh, yeah, he didn't know. I stole the money. He had no idea. I'm like, wait a second. Wait a damn minute. You're telling me that two stories, the exact opposite, come out. One says, yeah, I paid it off. Why would you say you paid it off if your money was stolen? That's all I'm asking. Why would it's just crazy.
The old stolen is everybody knows that one, right? That's like anytime somebody's missing. Yeah, it got stolen. No, we all know that Buddy didn't steal the money. He paid off the guy's debt or his own debt, and then he didn't realize what he was getting himself in for when he said he thought he was gambling through his interpreter, lifelong buddy, good friend. I don't know why now all the articles have him as his interpreter, right? And I get it, but they're trying to distance. This is his childhood friend or at least
Correct.
Late teenage friend. He was gambling through his buddy. His buddy got in the hole. He told him to put it all on red. He put it all on black. Who knows? And he was paying off the debt. But then he realized, I can't say that, and I need something. So
correct. And not only can he not say it, he's got to come up with another plan because the feds have wire transfers directly from you. So you can't just say it's I've got to come up with the plan here because I can't say, yeah, I paid it off. I've got to come up with, no, I didn't know anything about it. He stole the money because you can't have any guilt about this at all. One of the problems is gambling is illegal in California. So sports gambling is illegal. So you're doing all this betting through a proxy bookie, and that's illegal. And that's who the feds were investigating. They were investigating the bookie, and they found these wires from him. And they're like, what the hell's going on here? So my thing is, Ohtani, that statement that he came out, or that press conference he came out with yesterday, was one of the most unnecessary things that I think I've ever seen. What was he going to do? Come out and say, yep, I did it. Sorry. Instead, he comes out with another interpreter and basically tells the world, yeah, I didn't know. I've known this guy. I trusted him, and he stole my money for gambling debts. I had no idea. Give me a break. He 100% knew. He was out there gambling his money away, got late, got caught, and now he's backtracking. And the buddy, first of all, we know that fall guy, Chris. We know that fall guy.
Everybody's got one.
Yes.
Everybody's got one. And at what point, we got a couple good comments here. It's like, everybody has a price, and his first interpreter's price, he's going to maybe do a little time, maybe have to pay back a fine and money that he doesn't get from Ohtani. But, he's taking that charge because Ohtani's contract, what was it? What was the total of his contract, big guy?
$700 million.
Yeah. So he got 7 hundo sticks coming his way. He's got part of that. And then Darren said, at what point is enough money? Enough is enough. Trust me, they weren't gambling for money. They were gambling for the thrill.
Oh, yeah.
They may have a gambling addiction problem. He wasn't gambling because he needed to pay rent the next day. He just was having too much fun.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. First of all, the fall guy, and we know what it is, and you mentioned it. He's going to jail. And he's gonna go spend 18 months in some federal prison somewhere. And Major League Baseball is probably like, look, you got to take the fall. When you get out, we're gonna have you set aside $50 million. Okay, you can't. We're gonna funnel it through some way, somehow, to get you this money, but you got to take the fall because Ohtani is not only the Dodgers' cash cow, it is Major League Baseball's cash cow right now. They cannot have this come back on him at all.
His interpreter is going to head back to Japan with a $50 million in his pocket. He can go buy him a little feeder minor league team over there and live the life. Just don't show your face over here anymore. It'll be just fine. And then I got in the goon squad. We got one of those guys that he's always claiming he's got a lock. And thank God he's still in college and doesn't have access to any money because I know a guy like this. If he had $700 million, he still would have the lock of the day. Trying to put it on something. So
the problem is he'd have $700 million, but the lock he'd bid $10 on it. I got a lock for $10.
I got a lock for 10. Every bet I've followed him on, he's been under 50% on his win rate. So he's just burning through it. But casino or Vegas wasn't built on winners, is what they say, right?
No, it was
he's
not.
The first guy thinks he can outsmart the system.
No,
but no, the Ohtani things is insane. And if they're smart, they don't ask any more press conferences. They don't elaborate. You just lay low for a bit and let let the news cycle do what the news cycle does. Let the Major League Baseball come out with a penalty for your interpreter slash friend slash bookie's assistant, and let's
Correct.
be done with it.
Yeah,
So,
that's the whole thing. Just lay low. Some people were asking earlier, is Ohtani going to play? I'm like, he's not going to miss a game. Nothing's going to happen to him. They are going to cover this up to the highest degree. I would ask the Goon Squad if anybody thought he didn't do it, but based on the comments, there isn't a soul over there that doesn't think he didn't do this, and they would all be right. He absolutely did it.
Yep.
Now, here's the thing, Chris, and again, we'll wrap this up here shortly.
Sure.
I don't think that gambling on sports, if you're a professional athlete, I don't think gambling on other sports is really that big of a deal. I really, really don't. I don't think it's that big of a deal. Gambling on your current sport that you participate in, I think is. However, I will say this. If the rules of whether you're a baseball player, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, whatever it is, to be in that league, if it says you can not bet on any sporting event at all, then that's the rules and you can't do it. It doesn't matter if I think it's dumb, if the rule is dumb, it doesn't matter. Those are the rules. And if you don't want to follow them, I completely understand, because nobody is forcing you to be in any of those leagues. Nobody has held a gun to your head and says you have to be in there. Nobody's done that. So if you don't like it, just don't participate. It's no big deal. But I'm guessing you're going to keep participating because the paycheck is really good. So if that's the case, stay out of gambling. It's that simple.
Yeah, and I don't even agree with the if you can't gamble on your own sport. I think that gambling is like another one of those things that is a lot more addictive than people think, and not everybody's wired the same. And I think that the minute you say you can gamble on another sport but not on your own, you're seeing people's integrity. Right, you're seeing it erode right in front of your eyes. I mean, Jackson was in my living room, itching over the lock of the day, asking me to change the channel. This 21-year-old kid with $8 on a game. So I don't think that there is a certain you can gamble on this, you can't gamble. So I think I'm agree with you. Stay away from it, and it shouldn't be that tough because it's a literally a no touch zone. No Diddy, but so I think it's simple. There is no. But, to Darren's point, sorry, going back to this, nobody will sweep this under the rug like Major League Baseball.
Correct.
Right? Whether it's cork bats, steroids, spouse abuse, the MLB is the best there is at making you look at the sleight of hand and go in the other direction.
Absolutely.
So I think that we'll all forget about this soon because somebody will be chasing the home run record and we'll be hearkening back to the Jose Canseco, Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire days. So,
yep, absolutely. So, all right, people. Well, thank you guys. If the poll isn't already up,
it should be.
The poll should already be up on who won the debate for the evening. Goon Squad. I'll tell you what, Chris.
Sure.
I didn't think that I was going to like the tournament, the NCAA tournament, getting back to that, with it being the way that it is right now with the 16 teams left.
Right.
But you know what? I really do. I am okay with – I love upsets. Don't get me wrong. I love it. That's what makes the tournament the tournament.
Right.
But now that it's getting down to the nitty-gritty on who's going to win, I love the fact that we don't have these outlier teams that aren't going to win the title that are still available. We might see a blowout because that tends to happen in college basketball, but I like the fact that you're going to have to bring your A game to win. No more slip-ups. No lucky game by a team that makes 10 threes by a guy that can't be the squad's manager. None of that. I like the fact that this is where we're at. So I think it's going to make for a good weekend.
It will. Well, I'm going to try to catch some of the games at a new sports bar on Thursday, and I think the atmosphere will be that much more crazy because there are some of the established teams and the higher-ranked teams still in the tournament. You're absolutely right. Yeah. I think the energy is still in it.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm interested to see what happens on this weekend. The women, that tournament, we had 3 stars. We had Gino Auriemma come out. I was going to mention that, but Gino Auriemma came out and said Paige Beckers was the best player in women's college basketball. That she's better than – he didn't say better than Caitlin Clark, right? But he said that she was the best. I
Well,
just,
people are getting tired of the diva. A little bit of whining going on, a little bit
yeah,
of diva behavior,
yes,
and not enough. I hate to say not enough body of work when you're the all-time leading scorer, but people can tire of anything. Evidently, other than MJ, people can tire of anything. So,
correct, correct.
yeah.
So here
Oh,
we
look at
go.
CC. Look at there.
Oh,
I wore the camo because you can't see me. Oh yeah, yeah. Thank you guys. We're back on the winning streak. I appreciate that. Shout out to my dad. Probably learned how to vote this time.
he probably
I'd
voted
like to
10
think.
times.
Yeah. Well, I hope they don't take multiple votes, but if they do, just call it a hanging Chad and call it the election. But thanks for making me number one. I appreciate it. No
Unbelievable.
limit soldier. That's right. Make them say, I love it.
Let's cut the show off. Gee, many Christmas. Well, thank you guys, man. I appreciate everybody being out here today. I really do. Thank you guys for showing up again and showing out. Remember, as always, remember to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Most importantly, make sure you subscribe outside of the live chat and in the comments section. That really, really helps us out. It'll help us continue to grow. So we appreciate it. We will see you guys next week for more fun on Instant Replay. Aloha.
See you guys.